The current South African cabinet is made up of clowns, criminals, incompetents. The South African corporate sector are cowards and colluders for not calling out evil where they see it. The ANC is being funded by Iran through MTN. I called Cyril, and I don't call him Mr. President or Your Excellency, I called Cyril spineless. Jacob Zuma is by far the most popular politician in this country, by far, including in the Eastern Cape. And Zuma is being funded by Russia. Jacob Zuma has no money. Everyone assumes he stole this country dry. He let everyone else steal the country dry. He was a disaster. But he just was Father Christmas, Santa Claus, didn't take any himself. He's actually bankrupt. But we've been destroyed by the ANC as effectively as if we'd been attacked or bombed, but without the loss of life. I want to now do a message to Cyril directly. You have 77 days left to save your reputation. You are going to end up on the wrong side of history, and you know it. You ain't loved anymore. What I would like you to do, Cyril, is resign. In the last 3 years, since my fateful speech in the Drakensberg at BizNews went viral, and I became an unwilling, unintentional political activist, capitalist activist, I have said the following things: that South Africa is uninvestable under the ANC, that the ANC, anyone still voting for the ANC is a moron, and then I defined what a moron was, called Fikile Mbalula one, I'm probably a right on that score. And I actually apologize for that, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. It's not what you expect. I said that the current South African cabinet is made up of clowns, criminals, incompetents. I think I threw in ballerinas as well. I can't remember why. That the South African corporate sector are cowards and colluders for not standing up and calling out evil where they see it, despite they could just read the Zondo Commission and say, fair enough. I even said that Eskom was being run by the mafia, supported by the ANC, before Andre de Ruyter said that, on SABC. He called me last week to say we should work together. I said the SOEs have been destroyed by the ANC, by cadres, through general incompetence and thievery. I said BEE is theft, EWC is theft. I named names endlessly. I don't get invited to much anymore, by the way. I called Cyril, and I don't call him Mr. President or Your Excellency, I called Cyril spineless in front of Luthuli House when I marched with the DA and 4,000 others, and then got chased down the road by 50 people trying to kill me. And in every single one of these cases, I was one of the first, if not the first, to say so. And you may not remember, but 3 years ago, no one said boo to the ANC. It was this above reproach, liberation, Old Testament, as Sean Summers said, organization. And today, I promised my wife this is my last political activist speech, because it has put a massive strain on my family. I've enjoyed moments of it, but I'm not thick-skinned like those incredible politicians yesterday who put up with endless attacks and horrible situations. And you know the expression, if you stare into the abyss long enough, the abyss starts staring into you. But I feel I've done my bit. I've told the truth. I've told it like it is. And now others need to step up and do the same. Because my children don't know why they're scared. And that's not a good thing. So let me just tell you some of the key truths that I wanted to tell you in my original speech. 1, Jacob Zuma is by far the most popular politician in this country. By far. Including in the Eastern Cape. I know most of you don't believe it. It is true. The ANC is being funded by Iran through MTN. And Zuma is being funded by Russia. Jacob Zuma has no money. Everyone assumes he stole this country dry. He let everyone else steal the country dry. He was a disaster. But he just was Father Christmas, Santa Claus, didn't take any himself. He's actually bankrupt. The ANC is sick and dying, but they're still in ICU, and the brand is still very strong. And you may not realize it, but from 1994 to about 2014, the ANC delivered significant and pragmatic benefits to its voters. And this is what Sean Summers called the Old Testament on the ANC. They did a good job. They loved the country and they delivered. But from about 2014 onwards was when the rottenness, corruption, evil came in. So you can never say that the ANC didn't love this country. They did, but they don't love it now. And ANC support has collapsed. And this is where I need to apologize for calling anyone who still votes for ANC as a moron. Because they do realize the damage that their government is doing. They do realize we're collapsing, we're deindustrializing. The country is falling apart. They know that, and they are deserting the ANC. But the weakness is that the opposition parties are fighting with each other and should have picked up on that a lot earlier and converted them to vote for the opposition. And they failed on that, which is a great weakness by internecine rivalry that we need to cure. The DA's policies, and I must say the DA every day work on our behalf, and I want to thank them for all the incredible work they do, hundreds and hundreds of people across the country. But the policies just don't fit with where we really are. And here's the rugged truth about South Africa. Crime is not an option, it is a necessity for a lot of people. Most South Africans don't have an inkling how government works, and the biggest collective threat to our future is our general apathy to poverty. If we don't cure that, we have a real problem ahead of ourselves. That was really my speech, okay? And in there I had one solution to funding the reindustrialization of the country, which is prescribed assets, inward industrialization, and the original 1950s, 1960s plan that delivered us ISCOR, Eskom, Transnet, SAA, to reintroduce those policies and to make the asset management industry step up, to have foreigners that want permanent residence to fund it. And as Frans Cronje just mentioned to me, there's 1.5 trillion rand, 1.5 trillion rand sitting in cash deposits at the banks from the corporates. They're not investing it. These three areas will fund $100 billion reconstruction bond. And reconstruction bonds are normally used for countries that have been destroyed by war, Germany, Japan, etc. But we've been destroyed by the ANC as effectively as if we'd been attacked or bombed, but without the loss of life. Hence the reconstruction bond. But one key to it is it cannot have anything to do with the government other than a government guarantee. This has to be run by individuals that believe in the country and are skilled. I talked about if we had had a decent government, we would, all of that's in there. I would have repeated Moletsi Mbeki's incredible 5 mortal sins, and if you don't know what they are, you need to have a look. He has damned the ANC. And that's where I got to on my speech. And I will give it to Alec, and I will print it out if you want to. But you need to know that I have never been to bed hungry, and I've never woken up hungry thinking I was not going to get my breakfast. I've never worried about paying my rent. I've never worried about paying bills. I've never worried about a job, much like most of you. But like most of South Africans, they worry all the time. They're scared, and that is not right. So what I'd like to do is try and say, we need to stand up and fix this country, and we need to start working together. And I need more people to please stand up, because we have only 77 days left to the election. We've run out of time. We've run out of time for voter registration. We've run out of time for voter education. But we haven't run out of time to stand up and call out what is so obvious and in front of our eyes. And a lot of people say to me, you say what everybody else says around the braai, okay? But it's not my turn anymore, and I'm tired, and I'm run down, and I'm exhausted, and I owe it to my wife and family to stop doing it and ask others to please step up now. I want to now do a message to Cyril directly. Cyril, you have 77 days left to save your reputation. You are going to end up on the wrong side of history, and you know it. And you also know that one day after this election, you're going to get fired because you ain't loved anymore. What I would like you to do, Cyril, is resign today from the ANC. Say you woke up this morning and you realized this country is on the wrong path, you've made mistakes, you're going to admit it, and you're going to tell the voters of this country not to vote ANC and not to vote EFF, but to support the opposition parties and vote for change. And if you do that, you will potentially be a winner of the Nobel Peace Prize, the next Mandela. You will be a hero, and your legend will live forever. But you need to do it now, and you will be followed by Enoch Gonagwana and other people. A friend of mine who died a year or two ago, who was a butt kisser, a bit like Martin Kingston and others, shouldn't have said that, said to me, because he knew the ANC very well, that Cyril's greatest fear was to be known as the president that let the lights go out. So Cyril, that will be your reputation unless you resign and unless you stand up and get onto the right side of history today. Eskom, interesting thing. It is the one and only thing that gives us a chance to make a difference in this election. For all the people that are poor, afraid, homeless, and have no money, South African Airways is meaningless to them. Transnet is meaningless to them. Trucks clogging up the roads and polluting is meaningless to them. But when they, in their villages and their homeless areas, in their tin shacks, when the electricity goes down, their one and only device that connects them to the modern world does not work, and they are in darkness. Eskom is the message to voters that the ANC is failing. And Eskom is the one and only thing that has made a big difference to voter perception, because they know the ANC isn't working. So thank you for the disaster at Eskom.
There you have it, guys. Our African leaders are really doing their best to show how much they've envisioned the future, a sustainable future for Africa and its inhabitants. But you know, here in Kwazemi, we also love to hear from the people of Africa and lovers of Africa in the comments. So we encourage you to watch the videos as we post them here on Kwazemi, and do not fail to share your comments in the comments where you express your views, especially as people who love Africa and really wish the best for the future of Africa. So whatever it is you've heard and whatever it is you have a feeling about the speech you've just heard, please make sure to put it down in the comments. Thank you for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please share and like and subscribe, because that's the way you support Kwazemi as a channel, an Afrocentric channel, where we try to understand deeper issues in African history and hopefully develop a collective intelligence on how we wish to build the Africa we want to see as people of Africa. See you in the next one.